All right, welcome to the Story Geeks live show.
Hello.
And as people work their way in, I'll explain what we're doing today, and we'll also do a little bit of a solo review.
Why not?
Since Solo just came out, why not? So today we are doing another bracket challenge. The way these work is that we take two different sets, two different groups, and have them compete against one another to see who will win. Who will win the bracket challenge. So today, Daryl, what are we doing?
We are doing original X-Men movie cast versus reboot X-Men movie cast.
That is right. Original versus... So, on this side, when you see Professor X, when you see Storm, when you see Jean Grey, Rogue, etc., these are the original characters. So, Patrick Stewart, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, etc., etc., etc. On this side, James McAvoy, Olivia Munn, that whole crew. So that's the way it'll work. The goal is not to do matchups of like old school Professor X versus old school Professor X. That might happen here, but that's going to be up to you to determine. And Daryl and I will share our opinions as well as we go through.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a faster bracket challenge than we've had in the past because there's not as many. We didn't put as many characters on the list. But before we go there, a couple of announcements. One, we just did a Reylo podcast. It is a controversial one. I hear a lot of feedback online from it. I've started in Star Wars groups. I've started many, like, legit wars with people.
You're a troll now.
No, I'm not trolling anybody. They're trolling one another. But we also have new T-shirts. So not only can you buy our exclusive Reylo T-shirt, which is awesome, you can also buy the Story Geeks T-shirts.
With or without Space Penguins.
With or without Space Penguins. Yeah, trademark Space Penguins from Reclamation Society. Also, you can buy our logo, our Reclamation Society logo shirts as well. So you can go over to shop.reclamationsociety.org and you can find all of that there. One more quick announcement. You'll see that I'm wearing a very stylish, awesome mix hat. Well, it just so happens that we have a new sponsor. Modern Mouse Boutique is now a sponsor of ours. Modern Mouse Boutique has these super cool mouse ears, so if you're a theme park fan, you might love the mouse ears that they have. They're like some of the
Jay will probably wear those next week, I think.
Jay will probably not wear those.
But
when my wife wears them and we go to the parks, she always gets compliments and always gets people staring at her because they're like, whoa, cool ears. So you can use code StoryGeeks, all one word, StoryGeeks, and you get 10% off. Just so happens you also support us in that process. Why not? Got to do it. So before we jump into the bracket challenge, we'll let a few more people cruise in. I do want to hear, Daryl, what did you think? Oh, well, as we're doing this, please announce yourself in the chat. Let us know you're here. Daryl's going to be in the chat, so he'll be able to let me know who's responding. I actually very rarely see the comments because I get so distracted by the comments that the show comes to a complete halt. But Daryl will be hanging out there, so please announce that you're with us. Daryl, what did you think of Solo, A Star Wars Story?
I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was hoping that I would be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah?
And I was pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
I thought Ansel Elgort did a good job.
That's crazy because he's not even in it.
I do that all the time. I get those guys mixed up. Alden Ehrenreich did a good job.
Yep.
Gosh. And there was a couple little cheesy things here and there, but overall I thought he did really well. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
The part that I liked the least was the part that I thought I was going to like the best. So that's a bit of a bummer.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you want me to say that now or not.
Yeah,
it's a tad controversial.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, say it.
Donald Glover.
That is very controversial.
I thought I was going to love him, and I actually thought he was... well, okay, the droid, L337, was the weakest part for me, but Donald Glover was a little bit above that.
Yeah. I thought that Alden Ehrenreich did a fantastic job, which I was very
How did Ansel Elgort do?
He's even better as Baby Driver.
He is.
But I also know that Lando was okay for me. Probably not as disappointing as he was for you, but I understand why you say that. One issue that I have is there's a scene in the movie, and in the books it is described even cooler than it was in the movie. So I was a little bit... I'm glad that they had a throwback to the books, but I really wish that they had kind of included like what that would have looked like. I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen Solo yet. I also agree that it's really fun. I put it as an 8 out of 10. So I thought it was really, really fun. Definitely go check it out. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll love it. A really good podcast to listen to if you want to listen to the Solo podcast, a podcast about Solo, is Blast Point's podcast. Just did their review, and those guys are hilarious, and I highly recommend that you check those guys out because Blast Points is really funny. It does change things, though, because we're going to record a podcast tonight with Dale Wentland from Network 1901 and Albie from the No Midnight podcast about Star Wars Watch Order.
Yep.
Because now we have a new film.
Something we've been trying to get to for a long time.
Yeah, and it's almost good that we do it now because now you've got to include Solo somewhere in that watch order. So it should be really fascinating. Be sure to check that out when it comes out later next week. And we also have a Han Solo character journey podcast with Paul Verhoeven that is also coming out, which is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to both of those things. In the meantime, is everybody ready to jump into the bracket challenge?
Let's do it.
Who do we have in the chat today, Daryl? As I turn off the AC.
We've got a lot of familiars right now. We've got Josh, we've got Jessica, we've got Caitlin. Freddie's in there, I believe.
Nice.
We have Sarah.
Probably have Monty in there at some point in time. I saw Monty today. He said he's going to hopefully join us.
If he's in there, he has not made himself known yet.
He might have,
I think more people are still trickling in.
He might have heard what you said about Lando. He's like, I'm out. So let's just go ahead and dive in. We've got a hard stop time tonight, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. Like I said, you guys probably can't read it real well. We tried putting the camera closer, and it was too shaky on the table. So we're not doing that. So
there's Monty.
We're a little bit far away.
He's here.
Yes. What's up, Monty?
I love Lando.
On this side of the bracket is all of the original X-Men. So I'll announce who those are as we go through. On this side of the bracket is all of the rebooted X-Men. So we'll go through one at a time, we'll say. But to start, the first matchup of the night is Professor X, the Patrick Stewart version of Professor X, versus the Halle Berry version of Storm. Professor X as Patrick Stewart as Professor X versus Halle Berry as Storm. What do you think?
The best way that I could sum that up would be to say,
I know where this is going.
Do you know what happens to Halle Berry when she's struck by Professor X?
I don't remember.
The same thing that happens to everything else. She loses.
There you go.
So
she loses.
It's got to be Professor X.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Stewart, after Logan, which I know I get all this hate because I don't love Logan as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
But I love Patrick Stewart in Logan. I think he's amazing. He should have gotten an Oscar nomination, in my opinion. He solidified himself as the quintessential Professor X of all time. I'm going to go Professor X as well. So make your votes known in the chat, and so we can get down to who's going to fill out that spot right there.
And while you're voting, we will address a controversy that has already popped up. No, Deadpool is not on this bracket.
Actually, he was almost on the bracket, but as Daryl and I talked about it, we said, you know what, we're not going to include him because
he's not an X-Men.
He might be in 2 years, and we might do this bracket all over again.
And he's not in any of the X-Men
movies. It's true. So. You can also, if you want to, throw out anybody who didn't appear who you really thought should have. We do our best to come up with these, and sometimes we don't include everybody. So there you go.
Do our best to do our best.
What does it look like on the counts? Who's going to win? Who's going to pull through in this one?
Patrick Stewart is taking it by a mile.
Did Storm get any votes?
Not that I can see.
No. Professor X. He's kind of a front runner for this category right here, I would say. Although he's up against somebody else that's really crazy, so I'm not going to go there yet. The next one we're going to go to is one of the most powerful X-Men of all time.
Yep.
Famke Janssen. It's hard to say that name, but that's how you say it. Famke Janssen versus Rogue. Famke Janssen as Jean Grey versus Anna Paquin as Rogue. What do you think about these two characters?
This one's hard for me.
Yeah.
I like them both. I think they both have parts where they're well written and parts where they're not well written.
I agree.
I'm going to get a little weird on this one. I'm going to say Rogue, but I'm going to say it with the caveat of including the Rogue cut of X-Men Days of Future Past.
Oh, really?
Which is not the cut that was released in the theaters. It's a different cut.
I've never seen that
includes Rogue. They had a whole story arc for her that they cut her out.
Interesting. So I'll say I'm gonna go actually not with Rogue, because Rogue is one of my favorite characters from the comic and from the TV show, and I don't feel like Anna Paquin lives up to that character.
That's true.
From the comics and the TV show. So
but
I'm gonna go.
Jansen definitely doesn't live up to Jean Grey. From the comics
well, no, but Rogue is. I like Rogue more, so it's like more of a disappointment to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Jean Grey. So we're opposites on this one. What does the chat go with?
So far, I'm just seeing lots of Jean Greys.
Lots of Jean Greys? Any rogues? Any rogue love? No?
No rogue love.
Not even somebody who loves Nissan?
Creepy.
Yeah, well. All right, so here we go. Jean Grey it is. Moving on.
But really quick, we'll go back to Deadpool, because Monty points out that Deadpool is in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Two things for that. I think most fans would get mad at you for saying that Deadpool is in that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And then other fans would get mad at you for including that movie in the X-Men canon.
That's true.
I personally really enjoy that movie.
I do too. I like that movie. The only thing bad about that movie is how when he's in the bathroom and his claws are literally doing this because the CG
yeah.
the CG is that bad. Up next, both characters are going to appear on the reboot side as well. But right now we're looking at Mystique, played by Rebecca Romaine Stamos, versus Magneto, played by Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
McKellen. However you say that.
You're doing good. You remembered all the names.
Dude, I'm barely remembering
You studied.
I studied a little bit. What would you say on this one?
Magneto for sure.
Yeah, I go Magneto, hands down.
Not a lot of question for me.
Magneto's backstory as well in the original X-Men is so good. They do that backstory so well.
Yeah.
You cannot beat that.
They were going to do a movie on him. They were going to do an X-Men Origins Magneto.
Really?
And I think because the Wolverine one tanked so hard that they were like, well, that doesn't work. So they threw it out.
They should do another one like Logan, but with
Magneto. Yeah.
That would be epic.
That would be cool.
What do we got? What's the winner? What does it look like?
It's Magneto.
Magneto, no problem.
Yep. So far, these are all complete sweeps.
Wow, this must be really easy for people.
Yes.
Cyclops.
I don't think it's gonna get hard yet.
Yeah, I know. Cyclops. It's not hard yet. Cyclops, which is James Marsden, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Versus Wolverine, and there's only been one person that's played Wolverine.
So far.
There has been no one else that has played Wolverine. Next year, the year after that, maybe we'll be saying Tom Hardy as Wolverine. But now we're not saying that.
Here's hoping.
Here's the hoping for that. What are you gonna say? Now this one for you is harder than most people.
What?
Don't you love Cyclops?
Not in the movies.
Oh, okay.
They completely neutered him in the movies. It's terrible. No. In the comics.
How do you feel about that?
It pisses me off. In the comics, I would definitely go with Cyclops. He's a much more important and interesting character.
Okay.
But in the movies, it's definitely Wolverine. I mean, they pooped all over Cyclops in those movies.
I'm gonna go Wolverine, but I'm gonna go Wolverine in the comics everywhere. I like Wolverine a lot. He's up there with Batman as being one of my favorites. Josh, what do you think? Which choice?
100% Wolverine.
100% Wolverine from Josh. Freddie, what do you think?
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
It's gotta be.
It's gonna be another cakewalk.
It is. Yeah.
Wolvie it is. Great. This is setting up some really good matchups. Now we're going to go actually across the board. We're going to do round one on the other side. A lot of these characters are the same characters, just played by different people. First of all, we have Professor X, played by James McAvoy, versus Psylocke, played by Olivia Munn. By the way, Psylocke barely made it, because Daryl and I were going back and forth on who should be in this kind of the bottom of this bracket, if you will. And Psylocke barely made it on there.
Eventually, we're just like, you know what? This doesn't matter. They're not going to win.
They're not going to win. They're not going to win, which is easy. So you say...
Professor X.
Yeah, Professor X. Not even a difficult thing to go with, and probably all of you will say Fassbender too. Fassbender's awesome. I mean, Fassbender is
my
really
Batman.
Really great. He is. Yeah, he is your Batman. That's right. So I'm assuming that Professor X is going to take this. What does the chat say?
Again, it's a sweep. Professor X.
Round one is going to be the easiest round of all time, and then it's going to get a lot harder as we go. All right, so we have Mystique, played by Jennifer Lawrence, versus Emma Frost, played by January Jones.
That was a good poll. I wouldn't have remembered that.
Oh, really? No, I just I just did the brackets. All right, what are you gonna do? What would you say on this one?
Mystique.
Mystique.
Yeah. Better character, better actor, more story.
Jennifer Lawrence, I admit, is a great actress. I do not like her in the Mystique role because I feel like Jennifer Lawrence acting is Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, but if you put her up against January Jones as Emma Frost,
I like that character.
Okay,
I'm gonna go Emma Frost on this one.
Right.
I might be alone, but I'm gonna go Emma Frost. There's this whole following of Jennifer Lawrence that is like Jennifer Lawrence is the best, but I just don't. She's fine. I don't dislike her, but I don't love her. Josh, what do you think?
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost from Josh. Freddie.
Mystique.
Mystique. Oh, we have a divided room.
Literally.
A divided room.
Literally. Oh no. Captain Akron chimed in and broke the tie.
Oh!
It's Emma Frost.
Emma Frost moves forward. By the way, Emma Frost is a great character in Old Man Logan, the comic.
Yes. And a throwaway character in X-Men Origins Wolverine. They don't even say her name, but she's in it.
I don't even remember that. Now I'm going to run into a roadblock because I cannot remember the guy who plays Beast.
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult playing Beast versus Quicksilver. And I don't know that guy's name either. Now
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters. Evan Peters as Quicksilver versus Nicholas, whatever his name was, as Beast. What do you think, Josh? Beast. Freddie? Quicksilver.
I go Quicksilver.
I'm going to go Quicksilver as well, and mostly because, one, I'm not the biggest fan of the Beast, even in the comics, but also because I felt like every time they try to put the Beast on screen, like, the practical effects don't look right to me. I wish they'd go full CG or something.
If I was picking an actor, I would actually go with Nicholas Hoult. I think he gives a better performance.
Agree, yeah.
But I don't think they write that character very well.
No, and Quicksilver in Days of Future Past has one of the coolest scenes.
Yeah.
That scene is amazing.
And the comics, Beast is much cooler and much more important.
Yeah.
It's not as big a disparagement as it is with Cyclops, but...
Yeah. Right, it's true.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got in the comments? What does it look like?
In the comments, it is tied. What did we all say? Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
Beast. Okay, so
it looks like Quicksilver goes barely.
Yep, that was close.
Who were some of the votes and who did they vote for?
We had Sarah, Cody, and Caitlin voting for Quicksilver, and Captain Akron, Jessica, and Monty voting for Beast.
Ooh, all right. Controversial. Jean Grey. Now this is slipping my memory. Oh, this is Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. Game of Thrones fans might be excited about that. Versus Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
I said Fassbender earlier for Professor X. I had it all mixed up in my head.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I didn't even notice.
It's James McAvoy as Professor X, not Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Magneto. Nobody saw that in the comments?
No.
Nobody went crazy?
Well, I don't know. Go back and look. But.
Okay. So, who do you pick, Josh?
I'm going to go Jean Grey on this
Jean Grey, Sophie Turner.
I think a better Jean Grey.
Really?
If it was her versus Famke Janssen, I'd go with you.
Yeah.
No, let me ask you this question. Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
I am Game of Thrones fan.
And are you...
So it does add a little.
Yeah, it adds a little, I know. Freddie, what do you think? Magneto? You're going to
go Magneto for sure, because now we really are talking about Fassbender.
He's
still my Batman.
Yeah.
But I could see Sophie Turner as Batgirl. I'd be okay with that. So
I think she'd make a good Barbara Gordon too. Batgirl. Same thing. I'm just saying. Both sides of that character.
Almost stepped all over your geek card there.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna go Magneto as well. And I think mostly because Sophie Turner in Game of Thrones is actually not my favorite Sophie Turner. So that actually detracts from me a little bit. I know, I'm sorry. Josh is throwing up his arms. He may leave. So who goes through?
Magneto.
All right, so things are getting interesting because it looks like we could have some characters going up against one another in this bracket to see the winner that might be the same character. So that'll be interesting. So round 2 is now on. We have Professor X. That is the Patrick Stewart version of Professor X. Versus the Famke Janssen version of Jean Grey. That's a lot of names, man.
It is. You're doing well.
I'm going to be tired by the time this is over.
Thank goodness Denis Villeneuve didn't direct this movie.
Exactly. Do famous directors.
Yeah.
Just choose all the names I can't pronounce. Okay, so Professor X versus Jean Grey. Professor X versus Jean Grey. This is Patrick Stewart versus Famke Janssen.
Janssen.
Who are you going to go with?
Professor X.
Professor X?
Yeah.
Josh?
Professor X.
Professor X?
Yeah, Professor X is taking it. Seems like another fairly easy one. The next one's going to be a little bit more difficult, but this one's kind of easy.
We only have one vote so far, but it's for Professor X.
Yeah, get your vote in.
All the X's.
Get your vote in.
Cody says wheels.
Wheels. What do they call you?
Yeah,
Wheels?
this is a sweep. Sorry, Famke. You don't have enough Famkas.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a groaner. That is a groaner. All right, so now we have Magneto, Ian McKellen versus Hugh Jackman as Wolvie.
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 It's adorable.
It's adorbs. What do you think, Josh?
I think this would be a controversial one. I'm going Magneto.
Ooh, he's going Magneto. He's going against 17 years of Wolverine. I'm getting way too excited about that. Freddie, what do you think? Wolverine.
Hasn't Ian McKellen been playing Magneto just as long? I mean,
I guess so. That's true.
Just not as many times.
That's true.
I'll go Wolverine.
You're gonna go Wolverine?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Josh. I'm going Magneto. Because I feel like Ian McKellen, I mean, literally Gandalf. He's also Gandalf.
I think he's one of the best parts of the X-Men film, the original X-Men films.
I agree, along with Patrick Stewart. And I actually think that Hugh Jackman is great in anything because Hugh Jackman is a great actor, but I never even would have cast him as Wolverine because he doesn't look anything like Wolverine. He's like a tall, lanky dude. And he's like hairless. This is not the Wolverine from the comics. It is a very different dude. What are the votes? What do the votes look like?
Well, Caitlin is with you guys, but nobody else is. So it's.
What are you gonna do?
It's Wolvie.
Wolvie goes through. Oh, I'm using the wrong color. That's all right.
Oh, confusing.
Wolvie goes through.
No, you're using the right color because you used green. You can alternate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna alternate it.
Make it weird.
Now we have Professor X. This is the James McAvoy version of Professor X versus Emma Frost. That is January Jones. Josh, which one would you choose?
Don't do it. Come on.
Josh just wants to be controversial.
Have a little self-respect.
Professor X. What do you think, Freddie?
Professor X.
Professor X. Professor X.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Professor X as well. James McAvoy. I do think that James McAvoy is better suited to play crazy 16 personalities guy. 23 personalities guy.
Yeah.
From Split, but he does make a pretty decent Professor X.
Kevin Wendell Crumb.
Kevin Wendell Crumb. Yes.
Yes.
We should be saying the names, not me.
It's Professor X. We have only one
Professor
vote for
X.
Frost. Sorry, Caitlin.
Professor X. Now, Caitlin, you'll have to let us know. Are you saying Emma Frost because
she hates McAvoy?
Yes, that's what I was. That's what I was thinking might be the case. You know what? I thought McAvoy was like more like the characters he plays, which is like very arrogant and like over the top. But he's actually not. He's actually a pretty cool guy when he's interviewed. So, anyways, Quicksilver, played by who?
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters, not the guy in the MCU, the other guy. And
that guy's name.
I don't know that guy's
Crap,
name.
I can't remember his name.
He has much more of an accent.
No, he doesn't. That's why it was terrible.
That's why he died. That's why that guy died.
I forget his name. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's dead.
Magneto, played by Fassbender, Daryl's choice of Batman. Quicksilver, Magneto.
I'm going to go Magneto, but I have to point out that this is a father-son match.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's kind of harsh.
It's a legacy match.
So I'm going with Dad.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Fassbender it is. Josh. Quicksilver. Josh just wants to push buttons. He's pushing buttons. Ready? Magneto. I'm going to go Magneto as well. That one's actually kind of an easier one for me. Quicksilver's cool in that movie, I will say. He's cool in that movie.
But that's all he is. He's just cool.
Well, and he's in the one movie, whereas Fassbender.
No, he's in two.
Is he?
He's in Days of Future Past and Armageddon.
Oh, you mean Apocalypse?
Apocalypse. I'm Crystal Skull.
He's in with Bruce Willis and the rest of the crew in Armageddon, trying to bring down that asteroid. If only we had a really fast guy. There he is. That's a new movie. Okay, so I'm gonna guess that this is gonna be Magneto.
Yeah.
Magneto.
Yep.
All right.
Or as Caitlin puts it, the Fass.
The Fast.
The Fass.
Magneto. Now we're down to the real matchups, and these are intense. These are very intense matchups. So our final four right now is Professor X, Patrick Stewart as Professor X versus Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's a Logan matchup.
And you're shortening his name every time. It used to be Wolverine, and then it was Wolvie.
Yeah.
And now it's... Oh, no, the I's still there. Okay, I thought it was just Wolv.
Yeah, I'm just giving him new nicknames. It's W. Professor X as James McAvoy versus Fassbender as Magneto.
Yeah.
This is going to get real interesting real fast. The first one we have is Professor X, the Patrick Stewart version of Professor X, versus Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. This, not X-24, but actual Wolverine. So what do you think, Daryl? Which one are you choosing here?
I still have to go with Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think?
I'm going Wolverine.
Josh goes whatever. Daryl doesn't go. He's just like, I'm gonna go opposite.
The only reason why is I'm fearful of the X versus X.
The X versus X battle.
But I also think that if you look at the first X-Men film, Wolverine is the driving plot point. He's the main character.
All right. I can see that. Freddie?
Picard.
Yes. I vote.
I'm having a problem.
What was that?
Well, Wolverine was in the last vote too, and so now I can't tell where the last vote
No.
ended and where the new one starts.
Uh-oh.
So everybody revote.
Everybody revote.
From Caitlin's vote for Captain Picard on, we're good. Everybody else revote. So Captain Akron and Sarah, if you guys voted for Wolverine in the previous one, then whatever. Revote now.
Revote now. Do we not have Jim and Mary in the chat?
No, I don't think so.
This is like the first time that's ever happened. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself.
You want to call him?
Yeah, let's call him on the phone. Jim, who are you voting for? We have to know.
Life happens.
We actually have an entire episode of our podcast that will be posted on Patreon. So if you're not a Patreon supporter, you can go over to Patreon and support us on Patreon. Okay. And there's an entire episode that is produced by Jim because he had so many questions. We didn't even get to all of them. And so there's going to be several episodes produced by Jim. And when I say produced, I mean he came up with all the questions for him.
What were our votes again? I said Stewart.
We had one Wolverine.
Okay, so 3 for Professor X and 1 for Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm going Professor X as well.
So that means...
I think if you made me choose between
Math
the
is
two
hard.
actors in Logan, I go with Patrick Stewart for the Oscar, not Hugh Jackman.
We're tied.
We're tied.
There's still like 2 people who haven't put in their vote.
We're tied. You
tied.
guys have to. You have
We
to
need a
vote
tiebreaker.
Again. You got to vote again. I don't know.
Caitlin needs to revote. I think
No.
she voted for.
Oh no! I forgot to include Caitlin's because she said Captain Picard instead of.
So Professor X wins.
Professor X wins.
Oh man,
barely.
It's a close one. I'm gonna use a different color.
X versus X. It's gonna happen.
Professor.
I don't know.
Who played it better? That's why it boils down
X. Now we have Professor X, the James McAvoy version, versus Magneto, the Fassbender version. This one's actually kind of easy for me. Daryl.
Me too. Magneto.
Fassbender.
Professor X.
Oh, we have one Professor
X.
X
He just
in
wants
studio.
the X versus X battle.
He just wants the X versus X battle. But Fassbender is superior to McAvoy.
I think that's a blanket true statement.
Yes, I'm gonna go with that. I do know that McAvoy did a pretty good job in Atomic Blonde, which, by the way, has one of the best endings I've seen in a while. It's a really good ending to that film. It's not the best film ever, but it has a really great ending. And he's good in that film.
Okay.
So there you go. But what do we have in the chat? What are people going for?
It's all Magneto.
Oh, it is all Magneto. I'm sorry, Freddie. You don't get your X versus X.
No.
Instead, we get an awesome.
You made Chewbacca sad.
Nice. we have a last battle that is epic. A last battle of epic proportions. Patrick
This is where it
Stewart,
should be.
Professor X,
Oh gosh.
Michael Fassbender, Magneto. Get your votes in. What do you think, Daryl?
That's hard. That's
very
hard,
difficult.
but I think I'm gonna stick with Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Even though Fassbender. Now, if it was a younger Patrick Stewart, would you vote him in as Batman?
No. But he'd make a killer Alfred.
As Batman, he stops. Let's have some tea and crumpets before
Imagine
we
that
fight
movie.
crime."
Fassbender is Batman. Patrick Stewart is Alfred.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman is Robin. What do you think, Josh?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, ready?
Captain Picard.
Yeah, it's hard not to go with Professor X. I'm gonna go with Professor X as well. If you're in the chat, go ahead and vote. I could be surprised if Fassbender even gets one vote. That's
got
doing
two.
pretty well. He did.
Yep.
Who voted for Fassbender?
Caitlin and Monty.
Now, I would love some rationale. Talking about Sir Patrick Stewart versus the guy who was in Snowman.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm just kidding. I know. I'm just trying to be a jerk. But Fassbender is awesome, so I will say that. What's your favorite Fassbender role?
It might be this one.
He's pretty good in this one. I actually
It probably is this one.
think that Patrick Stewart as Professor X in Logan is the best I've ever seen Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. I think it's the best performance in the entire X-Men franchise.
Agreed. That's why they named him Sir. That's why they gave him a Sir title right there. You're good. You're really good in the X-Men. Here, we're gonna knight you. All right, so that'll close us out for tonight. It's a shorter show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Just remember, 10% off modernmouseboutique.com. There's also a link to their Etsy shop, so a couple of different options there. 10% off. Use promotion code StoryGeeks, all one word, StoryGeeks. And be sure to check out our t-shirts, all of our new t-shirts. You can go over to shop.reclamationsociety.org. If you're into Raylo, which I'm learning that you're either real into Raylo or you're real not into Raylo. There is zero middle ground in that discussion. I'm like the only one in the middle, and so I'm only annoyed by the extremists.
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle too.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the middle, and I'm annoyed by the extremists. I'm like, they're literally like going to be fights in all the Facebook groups I was in. From he is a war criminal monster to he's so dreamy. I don't know what to do with that. You guys can figure that out. You guys hash it out. I'm not even going to go there anymore. In the meantime, check out our podcast. We had, before the Raylo podcast, we had Helen O'Hara on the podcast from the Empire magazine.
Yes.
Quickly becoming one of our most popular podcasts of all time. We've got a lot of new listeners from that, so really appreciate you guys checking that out. And what else we got coming up? Incredibles podcast with Josh, who's off camera right now, but Josh Taylor and Angie Taylor were on our Incredibles podcast.
Which will be out in a couple of weeks.
Out in a couple weeks.
Before that movie comes out.
That's right.
Next week, we're having a special Star Wars week, I guess we could say. We're going to release
Star Wars
two
week.
podcasts next week.
That's right.
So on Tuesday, we will release what we're recording tonight, which is the Star Wars Watch Order episode.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, we'll release... No, sorry. Backwards. The Watch Order episode comes out on Thursday.
Probably Friday, actually.
Or Friday. But on Tuesday, we're releasing an episode on Han Solo's character journey, and Paul Verhoeven is coming back to talk to us about that.
Yeah, and he's always super entertaining, so you can't miss out on that. He also has an Australian accent, which is great.
So it's super entertaining to begin with.
That's right. Anyway, so thanks for checking us out. We should be back next Thursday, I believe. I know that we've got some off weeks coming up, but I think we'll be here next Thursday. So check us out on YouTube. Refer us to your friends. We keep getting new subscribers, so that's always cool.
Keep it up.
And we appreciate you.